All right, Sam. Special day for me, man. Being a George Mason Patriot grad and alumni, man, we've got a special guest with us on Motion Sports. It is the one, the only Mr. Kim English, the head coach of my beloved Patriots. Kim English, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you guys having me on, and really excited to get to spend some time and chat with you guys a little bit.
Man, we're excited. Thank you so much for coming on. Man, I tell you, we've been known to have like a lot of DC guests on and, kind of talking DC sports. And this is special for me. Again, being an alumni from George Mason back in 1999, I was able to see and be there when Mason went to the Final Four. But man, I'm tired of living those glory days back in 05. I want it now. I want it again, and live those days again, man. So
Plus, they don't get tired of, it's a great part of the history, and I think it's really cool, and it's really cool to celebrate it. A lot of people, most people, not our recruits, because they were just being born in, 2006 now.
yeah.
But it's awesome. It's cool. I think it was a great moment for not just this area, but for all of college basketball and basketball, that Mason was, in my opinion, well, it's not opinion, it's a fact, the first Cinderella to get all the way there.
Yep.
Like Mason, set the stage for the VCUs and Loyola Chicago's and Davidson's and all the other programs that have since made those deep runs and captured the nation's heart. But you're right. And it's time for us to get back to those days and those times. And now we're doing it in a conference where that can become normalcy, having that type of NCAA tournament opportunity if we take care of what we're supposed to in the out of conference and league, not just, having to, play in a one bid league. Now, granted that the CAA got in like 3 teams those couple of years, but no, it's I think it's a really good time for George Mason basketball.
I agree. Kim, we're all about knowing, the person, right? People and athletes are just more than stats, right? I want to know who Kim English is. I understand you have two daughters, Selena and Ari. Is that right?
Selena and Ari, yep. Ari, yep.
Yep. And then you're from Baltimore, correct? You went to Randallstown High School in Baltimore.
That's right. I went to quite a few schools, but Randallstown was one of them. We won state my senior year in 2007 in Maryland, and Towson Catholic High School in Maryland. And yeah, you got it.
Yeah. And then after that, you went to Notre Dame Prep. Is that right?
Notre Dame Prep was in Fitchburg, Massachusetts.
That's where my mom's from. Fitchburg, Massachusetts. That's exactly right. I have a whole bunch of family in Fitchburg.
I probably know them.
It's the Bellevos, man. I mean, all the Bellevos are up there. Yeah. Yeah.
I know. So
I had no idea that's where it was.
Yeah. Went there for a year and then went on to play 4 years at the University of Missouri.
Yeah.
I had a cup of coffee in the league one season with the Pistons and then overseas for a stint and then got into coaching.
But I think your recent coaching was at Tennessee. You came
to Tennessee the last 2 seasons before my first season here at Mason at Tennessee. Before that, I was at Colorado for a couple of seasons. And before that, I was at the University of Tulsa for 2 seasons, working for my college coach, Frank Hay.
Right. What's it like to work with Brad Edwards? He's such a great guy. I met him in person. Brad is just, I think he's one of the best ADs around. There's no doubt about it.
Well, it's great, having someone that, has been in the shoes of our student athletes himself. Obviously was a phenomenal All-American player at South Carolina. He's gone on to play professional sports at the highest level, and he's also worked in athletics at the highest level at South Carolina, his alma mater. So what's really good about working with Brad is when I'm talking to him about things that our student athletes require for them to perform at an optimal level, he understands it fluently. And not only does he understand it, he values it.
Right.
He thinks it's important, as far as nutrition, strength and conditioning, things that other people may not, sleep, hydration,
all the little things that matter, right?
Things that people don't think about when they just sit down to watch a college basketball game, but matters so much. Brad understands it intimately, and yeah.
One of the things I was super impressed with you, I had a chance to speak with you about 2 weeks ago, and I can tell that you have a passion for what you do, and you really care about your players. I mean, he's out there trying to get the alumni and everybody else to support this team to get new facilities, like you talking about, enhance the performance of our athletes through those small things. And I'm super impressed with, again, just your passion, for these guys already. I can tell that. I mean, you're a player's coach, but it's just you care. You care about the school, you care about this community, and you care about your players. And that's very apparent from the first time I've had a chance to talk with you.
Well, thank you. And I just think that's the path to what we want. I think that's the path to championships and success. And I think it's something that we're charged with, being a part of the higher education and intercollegiate athletics process. Is we want to enhance their experience. We want to give them as good of an experience as possible for them to go on with and move forward in their lives. It's ironic we're talking now as graduation is going on. I'm outside of it, so I'm kind of running in and out of graduation when Jamal Hartwell is about to walk, so I don't want to miss. I won't miss it. I'll watch him walk, and then Blake Buchanan later. Um, and just from an athletic standpoint, giving those guys the best of everything helps them succeed on the court. And in this age in college basketball, with the transfer portal being wild and NIL being wild, I think you have to put a serious focus on the guys you have on your team right now.
True.
Yeah, retention.
And something else about that. You're not just out to give these guys the best nutrition and some of the best facilities. George Mason itself is a very, very high quality education, not to be looked down on. I think that as much as they can be used as a tool for getting and keeping your players, I'm in favor of the George Mason education and being able to take that to the players that you're looking to recruit. I think you've got a heck of a recruiting tool with that education that Mason provides.
And it's more than the education; it's the complete experience. We are one of the most diverse universities in the nation, the most diverse in the state.
100%. Exactly.
So all of our students, when they go through their educational process and learning and being in classrooms and problem solving, and they're doing it with people from all different backgrounds, all different creeds. They're doing it with what the country will look like in the future.
You're exactly right. And it was like that when I went to school. I mean, it was one of the most diverse, areas to learn. I mean, I learned so much from so many different people that I had not even come close to having those contacts in high school, but to see those different cultures and backgrounds and be able to work and integrate, our projects with different, diverse teammates, it helped me in my career. I mean, no question. It helped me in my career.
And it's no accident. It's no accident Mason grads graduate, making the highest average salary of any university in the Commonwealth, any university.
Correct.
And they stay and work right here in Northern Virginia, in DC, in Maryland. So George Mason University is doing a lot for the Commonwealth of Virginia, a whole lot.
Correct. Kip, I want to ask your short-term and long-term goals for your program, and how has recruiting changed because of the NIL? I mean, what are you doing to combat NIL's good, but also I think it's creating a complete unforeseen consequence with this NIL. We've seen Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher, and all these, SEC guys going at it because of NIL. You're seeing, Deion Sanders and, going after Nick Saban, and it's starting to become a head because there's ways to skirt around the NIL that major schools are doing. But what are you doing as a head coach in the NCAA to comply with NIL, but yet maintain a fair recruiting standard?
So it's funny. because it's and if it's true to form, NIL, a college coach, a college basketball coach should have nothing to do with it. If it's
That's
true,
good. Yeah.
Correct.
Steve Kerr does not have anything to do with what money Stephen Curry or Draymond Green make outside of basketball. That is true NIL. And I'm actually very, very proud of what our student athletes have been able to benefit from NIL in its true form. And it is supporters of our program, local businesses, companies, they've shown up in a major way. I don't want to say too much here, but there are some people that are supporters of our program that are doing things in their private lives to give our guys as good of an NIL footing as I'm sure there is in the Atlantic 10. And we're still beating, ACC, SEC, Big Ten programs for players. So it's a really good situation here. How could it not be? We're a stone's throw from the nation's capital.
We've got 3 of the richest counties in the world right in our backyard.
Fairfax County, Loudoun County. I mean, you have McLean, you have some, and we're kicking out the more alumni than anyone every year, the largest public university in the state. So the opportunities are endless here. So for me in educating our players, it's first and foremost understanding that your game, your basketball game, is your most important, it's your most important sponsorship or deal.
Correct.
And how you carry yourself and your integrity and your character. But I think the opportunities to leverage life-changing relationships are more beneficial than whatever the monetary value may be from an NIL perspective. But there's NIL and then there's pay for play. Those are 2 completely different things. So,
and I think these guys are having a hard time with this. You know what I mean? Like the bigger schools are having a hard time with this,
we are in the infancy of NIL. So it's not not really anyone's fault. I don't think there's anyone to blame at this point. Everyone, the NCAA, the schools, the players, everyone is still trying to figure out what this is, what it's going to be, and how to work with it, work within its framework.
Absolutely. And, it's the NCAA is in a tough spot, because the Supreme Court in a 9-0 decision said what they said. Some antitrust things involved there where there's so much that they can do. And you can't, America cannot say we're a capitalist society and then say these young people can't make money.
Agreed.
Of their name.
Absolutely.
So
agreed.
It is what it is. I think the market will set itself. George Mason's standing is fine. I'm not into just giving these guys money aimlessly. All of their NIL deals are earned. They understand them. They understand the contracts that they sign. They understand the obligations that they have to uphold. And it's great. We talked about it day one as a team, and I think it's good for the student athletes, college coaches, universities, athletic directors have made a lot of money for a lot of years on the backs of
these kids.
These
kids. I agree. Kim, let me ask you a question. With the increased the platforms of social media, we're starting to see a lot of players not having to go to the bigger SEC schools or the ACC schools to become a star, right? Steph Curry, he went to Davidson, who is in our conference. These guys can make their name out there with the smaller school settings. Does that help your recruiting, or are these kids still looking for the Kentuckys, the Tennessees of the world, or are you still, or the Dukes? But do you being an A10 school compared to an ACC school, do you feel that these players today can still make a name for themselves and be ready to commit to, let's say, a smaller school rather than go into the blue bloods of NCAA?
I mean, truth be told, the only difference I think, and it's honestly, I think between the ACC and the Atlantic 10 is football, to tell you the truth.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I don't see much. I mean,
consistently look at what we're pumping out for the NCAA tournaments.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I mean, the NBA is littered with great players that have gotten to play and develop and showcase their game from everywhere. I shouldn't say just football. It's not just football. It's football, and it's one and done talent, right?
Yep.
That's the difference. So you said we're not recruiting against Kentucky. We're not recruiting against Duke. We're not competing against North Carolina for players. That's fine. The vast majority of the elite NBA draft picks that are from those high major conferences, those football conferences, are one and done guys. When you get down to the nitty gritty of it, who's a junior, who's a senior, and you look at the conferences that they come from, it's a toss-up. Doesn't matter. Once you take out the young Paulo Bancheros, the Jabari Smiths, the Keon Johnsons of the world, I think it's level from the Atlantic 10's perspective.
Great answer. One last question, we'll let you go. Do you like where the game's going in terms of overall? Like, we look back in the 80s, 90s, more of a rougher game, a lot more defensive style. We've seen the NBA kind of come back to it this year. I really enjoyed NBA basketball this year, or do you like the more offensive, spread and just, these ticky-tack fouls and all this other stuff that goes on with the game sometimes? Do you like where the game is currently?
Well, the game is, it's what are you talking about? You're talking about the NBA game and the college game?
No, the NBA versus the college game. I mean, they're very, very different. Yeah,
they're two
I want to
different
focus on
games.
the NCAA game. The NCAA game.
Yeah, the college game. It's getting better. It's getting better. It's starting to mirror NBA basketball more. With teams are relying less and less on lineups with more than one non-shooter on the court.
Right.
It's still a very, very, very physical game.
Yeah.
In ways more physical than the NBA. Not the NBA playoffs, but it's a lot of fouling going on in college, and a lot of that is because of space restrictions that we have. Guys can stand in the middle paint for defensive 3 seconds. There is no defensive 3 seconds. Sorry. It's so there are a lot of differences between our game. I think the game is moving in the right direction. I don't know the numbers, but I feel like scoring's maybe going up, and I think the shooting getting better. It's the 3-point line is going back. It's such and then even I'll say this too. I'm going to filibuster here, but it's 358 teams, so right. It's so many different styles, even in our own league. I mean, you have VCU, who is press, 40 minutes of havoc, trapping, playing aggressive, and then you have a team in the same city, Richmond, that runs to Princeton.
That's true. That's true.
You have Syracuse, and then you have Clemson. Like it's so many different styles in the college game that it's like it's almost not even one game.
I'm a freshman. I'm coming into George Mason, and I want to know Kim English's philosophy of the game and how we're going to run things. What's your style? You're
a player?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you've already known that. You've already got to know that before you're stepping on. We're very honest. We're very honest. You're going to earn everything that you get. You're not going to be at a place in America where more time is dedicated to your individual game. More than 50% of our program is focused around helping you become a better player. We monitor every single metric about your process as a player here from the first day you step on campus. your body, your weight, your measurables, your speed, your agility speed, your leaping speed, your body fat, and we get to track that development. We'll do it as a player and drills and times and shooting times and percentages, and you're going to get better. You're going to be tough. You better compete. You're going to
I
work hard.
love this guy, man. I
And,
love this guy.
and lastly, and probably the most important thing is we're going to grow in the area of humility. It's a staple of our program. You know, it's not thinking of thinking less of yourself. It's thinking of yourself less. And we really want to build that aspect of these young men in this age.
Oh,
don't cut out.
I thought he was getting ready to come up with something really great here. But what a terrible time to freeze. And I just want to say this, and Coach, if you're still there with us.
Oh, there he goes. There he goes.
Okay,
all right. A little bit.
I'm sorry. We lost you right as you were just to make the crescendo of your point, Coach.
Sorry, I was just about to say, and humility is so important in a time where everything around them is about you, me, I. Look how many followers I have, how many retweets I get. I'm going to retweet myself this article, blah, 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 blah. Humility is key, you know.
And I think that humility, I think, is something that can be used to bring a team together. And if you're going to make a team go out there and work as one, that is a scary and difficult thing to have to face game in and game out. I think that's with the mid-major schools where you're not going to be looking at this one and done talent. You're going to have the opportunity to build lasting friendships and players who are ready to go to war to each other because they've done it for 4 years together. I like these smaller schools for those facts of these players are going to be together and become the best of friends and the best of players in their 4 years that they're going to get to spend together.
Yeah, no doubt. Camaraderie is huge, and it's become. It was probably one of my biggest mistakes this first year is not honing in more to the camaraderie piece. In a day and age where transfers, new players, teams are so new. Everyone's so new. The most together team is going to have a lot of success. The Kansas Jayhawks, the national champion, had one new player on that team. One.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
The one Harris was a sophomore or junior. Christian Brown, Ochagbadi, junior, senior, McCormick, junior, senior. Lightfoot was old. They had one new player. It was Remy Martin, transfer from Arizona State. The camaraderie piece. And you know what? Them spending time together off the court, eating, doing hard drills in the morning. But I'm not talking about basketball, but and a big reason that was so important this season, and I think season in the future, is because we're coming off a global pandemic.
True.
For 2 years,
we need it so bad.
For 2 years, the guys couldn't eat team meals together.
Yeah.
For 2 years, they couldn't have roommates on the road.
Correct.
They were alone. They were by themselves. They were on their headphones and video games and this. So they weren't together.
Yeah.
They weren't together. So that camaraderie, I feel like, was lost, and we got to do what we got to do to get it back.
Well, you're right on heart. The kids, the graduating seniors of 2020, they didn't have prom. They didn't have a graduation. They didn't have much of a senior year. They get thrown into college. They missed all that stuff in high school. They get thrown into college, and they're kind of in this fog. And that's your recruiting class that's on these teams this year, all across colleges across the United States. And it takes men like you to kind of get their focus back and hey, man, let's try to get back to basics. And like you're talking about, camaraderie is huge.
We were in some point in this season, and we were at a breakfast. It was we had a great win. I think we had I don't know. We had a really good win. I don't know, Georgia. We had beat one at Georgia or something like that. We thought it was a good one at the time. And the next morning at breakfast, everyone's in their phone, just at the table, just like this. And I was like, yo, no more phones. No more phones. When we come to team meals, text your parents, text your girlfriends, let them know hey, I'm not bringing a phone to dinner tonight, or I'm not taking my phone to our team meal. Leave your phones in your room. If there's an emergency, call me. I'll have my phone. And the discussion at those meetings and sessions were great for the rest of the season. And even now, when
Great.
we go to team functions, we don't have phones. I want them to talk to each other.
I love it.
And be around each other.
I love this guy. When we need to go play some golf, we'll have a lot more discussions. I know you got to go.
Let me know.
We'll get together on the golf course. Talk a lot more.
Course. Hey, you got an open invite. Country Club at Fairfax. Whenever
Let's
you
go.
want. It's right across the street. We can go.
I'll bring John Vaughn, and we'll just get another guy, and we'll just absolutely have a blast.
John Vaughn will bring his money too.
Trust me, he's going to bring his money.
Coach,
his golf game is sharp right now too, man.
Coach, it was really, really great to have you here. I'm glad you're a part of what George Mason is, and I hope that you're going to lead George Mason not back to the promised land. I want to go to someplace better than that, and I wish you all the best and all the success getting George Mason to do that again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here.
Let's go Patriots, man.
Go Patriots, yeah. All right.
Yeah. That's it, Sam.
Yep. All right, man.
English.
That was awesome. It was great to get to be with Greg. I will be seeing you soon, brother.
All right, man.
Yeah, bye-bye.